Hey everyone, Mr. Happy here, just doing a quick little video to let you know about an update that just rolled out for Final Fantasy XVI. We were promised a post-release patch giving us a motion blur option as well as some new control schemes. I think they also mentioned some performance updates, but I'm not going to be able to really check for that in this video. That update is live. The motion blur option has been added and there are new control schemes, so I want to go over that stuff with you in this video real quick. I know a few people who were waiting on the motion blur option in particular before getting into Final Fantasy 16 after picking it up. Fortunately, you don't have to wait more than a couple of weeks. So if you go into your system settings, you're going to want to make sure you're on patch minimum 1 point. I think it's like 0.00003 or something like that. All you're going to have to do is go into your system settings and then real quick just tab over to graphics and it will be the final setting. Now, there are 5 options for motion blur in case you want a little bit, not a lot. I don't know. I didn't even notice it really while playing the game because I was so focused on the action. We're going to test each of them, okay? It's probably not going to come through as well as I'd like to on a YouTube video, but it's what we're going to do. So first, we're going to do just a couple of 360 rotations with a 5, and then we'll go down to 4, 3, 2, 1, and 0, and then we'll take a look at those new controls. So this is on 5. This is what the motion blur will look like if you were to just hold the camera. And yeah, you know, like I don't really notice it while I'm in the middle of the action, but yeah, I mean, it's pretty rough. It's pretty rough now that I stop and look at it. Okay, with that, let's go back into the options and bring it down to a 4. Now, I'm willing to bet that I really don't notice the difference between each of these. I'll do a couple of rotations at the very least, but I'm assuming as we get down to 1 and 0, it will become infinitely more noticeable. Let's do one more for good measure. There we go. This will matter more to you than it will to me. All right, and then we'll go down to a 3. I just love the idea of having a little bit of motion blur, but not a lot of motion blur, you know, in case you're someone who prefers things in moderates, I suppose. Gonna do a couple more rotations here. Like, I honestly don't even really notice the difference just yet. I have looked at the 0, and the 0 I felt made a significant difference. Going down to a 2. Alright, couple of rotations. Again, I also don't know if this is the best place. I wanted to load up in as spoiler-free of a location as I could, and all of my saves have some sort of spoiler attached to them. Some of you may be able to figure out what that particular spoiler is, but I'm not going to say anything else. And so this was, I felt like, the best I could do. Let's go down to a 1 now. See, for me, that was noticeable. Going from 2 to 1 was for me by far the most noticeable, but like 5, 4, and 3 all look the same. Even 2, but 1, yeah, now I can see a significant difference. Okay, and finally we'll go down to 0. And one last little circle around. See, I can't really notice the difference between 0 and 1, but I can notice the difference between like 2 and 1. Weird, right? But yeah, that's what the motion blur options end up looking like now in Final Fantasy 16. I'm also in performance mode, not graphics mode, so I guess in case that matters to you. I mean, you could see I was in performance mode the whole time, but it is what it is. Hi, me interrupting myself in the recording that I did 30 minutes ago. I realized that I probably should have tested it on graphics mode. From what I understand, that was where people said the motion blur was particularly bad. So we're going to just run the same test real quick. Going to go from 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0 in graphics mode while doing a few laps around. I actually never used graphics mode, so maybe that's why I didn't really know. Oh, yeah. Oh. Okay, see, I was like, man, what's people's problem with the motion? Oh, okay, wow. All right, yeah, so we're gonna need to test that. Glad I didn't try playing in graphics mode then. Okay, but I still don't notice a difference between like 5 and 4. Like, so I'm wondering if it's gonna be the same thing where at 1 I really notice the difference, but yeah, I can see now why graphics mode was significantly worse for a lot of people. Gonna go down to a 3 now. I can actually notice that a little bit. Not nearly as much as what I'm probably about to notice, but okay. Either way, this is it at 3 strength. We'll do one more lap because why not? Okay. And now I go back in one more time. Go down to 2. Let's see. I noticed 2 a lot more than I did in performance mode. I still think 1 is probably going to be the most noticeable, but all the same. We'll do one more lap for good measure. Go down to 1. Yep. 1 is still the place where I really notice. It has to be like almost off for me to really, really notice the difference. Like, again, it's just, for me, it's exponential between 2 and 1, and then 0 even just like slightly more. Let's formally, let's wrap this one up. 0. There you go. All right. Yep. Yeah. Actually, 0, I can notice a little bit more of a difference than in performance mode. But yeah, there you go. Motion blur. Yeah, I figured I might as well run it in both real quick. So sorry, past me, for interrupting. You can go back to whatever you were going to talk about next. Now, the other thing is new control schemes. Now, we don't have custom mapping yet. I don't know when we're going to have that, but I did take a look at the new options, and they're pretty much what people were saying they wanted. So I'm going to shrink my camera a little bit just so you can see that last little bit of text down there at the bottom. And so this is type A, B, and C. These are the 3 we already had. A is what I used. Honestly, the big thing I wanted to do was put magic on L1 so I could more easily, you know, not have to go between square and triangle, but I ended up just kind of getting used to it. 2 had, you know, circle as evade, which was a big thing people wanted, but then square being readying iconic abilities, and the iconic feat being L2. None of that did it for me. And then type C had lock on L2 and like cycling icons on triangle. Like, magic being on L1 was right, but I hated cycling icons on triangle. Now we have type D. Now, the biggest difference between type D and the rest is, once again, you can see that evade is circle and the iconic feat is R1. Magic's still triangle, which isn't great for me, but all your basic combat skills, melee, magic, evade, and jump, all being on the face buttons, was a mega requested thing. So type D, I think, is going to appeal to a lot of people. Now, I didn't really take a close look at type E and F. I kind of just said I'll do it in the video. So the big thing is icon cycling L2. Here we have iconic abilities on L2. R2 is magic, R1 is melee attack, and L1 is lock on. These are what I like to call the Dark Souls controls, because R1 being melee, R2 being magic, or, you know, light or heavy, or however you want to look at it, that I don't think that's any more comfortable for me. I imagine doing my combo and rotating between my index finger and my middle finger on my right, and I think I'd rather just use my thumb. But circle is evade again, triangle is cycle icons, square is your iconic feat, so, you know, whatever, you know, icon you have equipped for that, jump, and then the rest is all still pretty much the same. And then we have type F, where L2 is lock on, L1 is magic, triangle is cycling icons. See, that's the thing. I don't want cycling icons on triangle. So I really want cycling icons to stay on L2, which is why I think I would stick with this and just, you know, accept that evade is circle. But again, at this point, I'm already so used to type A that this doesn't really do a whole lot for me. But the iconic feat being on R1, they're all circle being evade is the big thing that I'm noticing here, is because that was like the biggest thing people wanted was evade on circle. But cycling icons on triangle, yeah, that really doesn't do it for me. Melee, magic, yeah, the melee and magic things, again, all in the right spot. I just don't want to cycle icons with triangle. That's just a personal thing. I just don't want to do that. So, because I cycle a lot, and it's, I don't know, it just, for me, it just feels weird. So it's still not the control scheme I want. I, of course, would just want the thing I named, or custom controls. I think something most people could agree with. But those are the changes. I didn't see anything else in the options here. Maybe somebody in the comment section can make mention of them, because there were no patch notes when I tried checking PlayStation, unless they were just in a different spot. I don't know. I didn't see them. Hi, past me, interrupting one more time. I didn't know what else was there, and then as the video was rendering, they posted the full list of the patch notes. So I'm going to put those on the screen right here so you can see them, I suppose, in the top right. And as you can see, the motion blur strength is there. Apparently, something they also added, something I never even looked at in the options, is this right here. Apparently, these were not toggleable before, player follow movement and player follow attack. Turning these settings off prevents the camera from automatically following the player while moving and attacking, respectively. So does that mean that I like kind of drift off? Oh, it means that the camera doesn't like try to turn. So yeah, you can keep the camera still, which also kind of helps with the motion blur stuff, because you can move Clive around without everything. Oh, I just realized that I changed my control scheme from the other part of the video. It was like, wait, why am I changing icons? Oops. Okay, so there's that, and then just so you can see it with it on, you know, normally it does this, where see how it kind of like follows Clive around and moves, so you can't just move Clive around. It's a very slight here, this is a very small example of it, and then there is also player follow attack, which is on by default, so you can see the camera's moving with him. So now let's try. I keep trying to do. Hold on. Change back to type. Why was I type C of all things? Come on now. And then we'll turn it off. I mean, it still has to follow him, but I kind of notice a difference. Alright, well, there's the example of that, I suppose. The other things are they changed the maximum setting of the camera sensitivity to 20? So this was the old max, I suppose. We might as well just do it from the old max. I'm not going to do it. Oh my goodness. Wait, people needed more than this? This is a 10? Bro, I'm moving at like supersonic speeds right now. What does 20 look like? Hold on. I got to see this. This is wild. This is hypersonic. Oh my god, who's playing the game like this? Who's playing the game with the sensitivity? Oh man, the motion blur didn't make me throw up, but that might. Oh my goodness, please go back to. I was very content with 4. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm just old. It's out of control. They added the new controller layouts, some stability to the menus, text issues, and the hashtag. So those were the rest of the things that they filtered in. Now you can go back to current me finishing up the video. And so, yeah, I think with that, we are good to go. But yeah, if you were waiting on the motion blur toggle, you now know that it's there and get a good representation of whether or not it's good enough for you. Anyway, that's going to be a wrap for this video. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like, favorite, subscribe, and share, and I'll be keeping you up to date on anything else that happens with Final Fantasy 16. Plus, I have plenty more discussion videos coming on the way. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Until then, take care.